morning. In January of 2011, in the middle of my 9th grade year, I began my first days at Chestnut Academy, a place I hardly knew anything about except that my uncles had once run the same halls and Coach Mike Delgrand thought I'd fit right in. However, my first year wasn't easy. I was struggling with depression, which hung over my head for almost a year. Coach Delgrand gave me the opportunity to switch schools for the second semester. And towards the end of the freshman year, I was sure I didn't want to come back sophomore year, but my parents told me to stick it out. With the help of some of my best friends, Ben, Loeb, Armour, Cole, and Borgia kids, I was able to surpass the clinical depression and start to feel like myself again. My journey at SCH started 4 years ago, yet it feels like it was only a short period of time I was here. I had a really rocky start to my high school career, but looking back on it now, it was the best decision I've ever made. Freshman year to me was comparable to a quote from the popular movie Anchorman. Channel 4 News team's own Brian Fantano once said, "I'm live at Panda Watch. The mood is tense. I've been on some serious reports, but nothing quite like this. King is inside right now. I tried to get an interview with him. They said, no, you can't do that. He's live air. He will literally rip your face off." In all seriousness, though, I felt like a caged panda, ready to jump on anyone who upset me at all. My experience was tough, but I hope that the lessons I emphasize in my speech may help anyone who is struggling with similar obstacles. I hated every minute of freshman year, until one night, a night that goes down in my personal history book. This night turned around not only my year, but also my entire high school career. I was invited to my first party and decided to go, which was a huge decision for me, because I did not feel like myself at all. The party was at Wesley Saunders' house, and this is where I met a girl who changed my life in high school. Her name is Laura Mulaney. We call her Mendelssohn goes to Penn Charter, and told me she also struggled with the transition of switching into an inter high school. Our conversation lasted the majority of the night, and I realized I could really turn my happiness around if I gave it a full go like Mendelssohn suggested to me. Because of her, I still talk about it to this day with people who struggle just like me, and let them know that it is worth sticking out. After freshman year, I felt comfortable at SCH and couldn't wait to get to school every day, mostly because I love messing around with my friends while meeting new people. One of my favorite memories from sophomore year was when Pat Fear and I thought it was hilarious to tell every person we saw that Sean Delaney needed to talk to them. Then we'd proceed to watch them walk up, confuse the living daylights out of Sean. Sean had no clue what was happening, so he finally gave up on trying to figure it out and just up and left the lunchroom without eating any of his lunch. Every day was a new adventure and a new challenge to find what shenanigans we could get into, only the safe and responsible ones, of course. Sophomore year taught me that I could finally have family outside of my actual family, and that was one of the best lessons I've actually learned. I began to realize that the lacrosse team was a family that had one of the strongest bonds I've ever run into. I've also learned that I have actual family on the team. The Waller brothers are cousins of mine, which led to us getting to run on jokes like, "Are you guys competing for valedictorian?" Or, "Our defense has a combined GPA of 4.0. The lacrosse team isn't your normal group of guys, not even one bit. I'm sure a lot of you have realized this. Some might ponder, how does a serious man like Coach Delgrand deal with such goofballs? But he does. Going to my 4th year of lacrosse and coach, I've come to a realization that past that straight face coach puts on during game days, he cares about us. Even if we do get suspended during a game against GA like I did last year. No need to worry, Coach and I are still two peas in a pod. The best way to put the relationship Coach has with the lacrosse team is easily comparable to the relationship Bud the Elf has with his real father, Walter Hobbs. Coach may not always be happy with us, but when he thinks about how good of a group of guys he has, he can't help but crack the slightest smile that only a trained eye can see. Every player on our team is our own individual and shows we don't hang out in the locker room or team dinners. A perfect example of this was Greg Farina and Will Cool's daily dance to the Ignition remix by R. Kelly in the locker room. You always gotta laugh out with guys. Junior year, I told myself I was ready to crack down my studies, but as it turns out, some subjects aren't my specialty like Spanish. Just to say that Spanish 2 and 3 have left me in freshman study halls for the past 2 years. Even as a first quarter senior and an 18-year-old, I still sit in my assigned seat and get checked in on to make sure I'm not goofing around on my computer. No hard feelings, Senor Condo. I still enjoy learning how to say, "Hi, my name is Tom," getting Spanish through. I also learned that you have to put in work to get the results you want, because sports won't get you into college like I had thought initially in high school. I also had a lot of ups academically junior year, like Mr. Heine's math class, the greatest class I've stepped into thus far. Mr. Heine wasn't only a great teacher, but one of the nicest guys I've ever met. After 3 full years of stories, I come to where I am now, in my last year of high school, with my future right around the bend. I am fortunate enough to be going across the University of Hartford, not to be confused with Harvard, the lesser of the two educational institutions. Time has flown over my short years at SCH, but I have learned a few things I want to pass on to my fellow students. To the freshmen, first I'd like to introduce myself. Hey, I'm Tom. Second, don't give up on something that isn't going your way. Keep working harder to overcome the obstacles put in the way of whatever you're compelled to succeed at. To the sophomores, concentrate on your academics before your athletics and social life, because without strong grades, athletics won't matter, and your friends will make jokes to you about Ivy League school. Jokes about your grades are not cool. Hearing, oh, Hartford, not Harvard, on a daily basis from Farmer, that's taught me a valuable lesson, one that I want to pass on to you. To juniors, you're now upperclassmen and the workload gets a little harder and more strenuous, but don't let that stress you out. Enjoy yourself, because before you know it, it'll be you up here giving your senior speech and looking at what colleges interest you. And finally, to the seniors, it's never too late to make a new friend and try something new. In addition, I want to thank you all for the endless stories, putting up with my 5th grade humor and my funny Belgian accent. These past 4 years have been the best years of my life, and I owe it all to you. Thank you.